Hello heathens, and welcome to my channel. I am Beauty Heathen, and my channel is dedicated, generally speaking, to the exploration of paganism through the medium of cosmetics. If you've been tuning into my channel this week, you already know that some stuff has gone on in my day-to-day, including my feeling a bit under the weather and experiencing a family loss. And because of that, this week I've been diverting from the normal content that I do using cosmetic practice heads and discussing the subjects that I normally do. Today I want to sort of bring it back to something that I may have mentioned in my previous video that I posted today, Tuesday. Sorry, I'm still a bit under the weather. I'm still trying to finish healing from getting a mild case of food poisoning, so forgive me if I'm still a little off. And that is the subject of Ascension. I'm actually going to call on my cards to help me with this subject. I'm trying to sense out intuitively where I should start. Now, if you watched today's video, I had mentioned how I had sensed my twin flame was going through the process of ascension, but I didn't really discuss what that means. It is a process that I personally went through in my mid-20s, thereabouts. It's something that is an ever-evolving thing. It's not necessarily something that you do it once, it's done, it's over with, you never have to do it again. It can go through many stages, and how quickly and how fast it all happens is a combined decision between the person experiencing it and the universe. That's all I can say. Sorry, I bumped my chair a little bit. Ascension is a complicated thing, and it's not the same for everybody, but in general, it can lead off with a few things, and I'm sensing to pick up this deck first and see if it now cooperates now that I posted the video that I didn't want to post. The twin flame one. I actually was not wanting to post it, and I wasn't wanting to do anything of that nature, but the energy just would not leave. So I had a feeling like maybe I was supposed to put it out there. Don't know why, but time will tell. Now we'll see if this deck in particular, the Psychic Tarot, is going to cooperate now that I have behaved and I have surrendered and I am being a good girl. I'm listening. I listened. And just like in the previous videos this week, I'm shuffling live. So anything that pops up, you see comes up in the moment. And Ascension is basically a spiritual process. It is a process where you may be transcending the normal, everyday human experience. For many, this means leaving behind past things that may have held on importance to you, be it physical things or things that you may have been taught to believe in, such as organized religion, such as and by organized religion, I mean organized religious beliefs and patterns and things of that nature. And thank you, my cards are cooperating, they're being kind. Okay. All of these things in front of you are things that you can experience while going through Ascension. There's nothing per se here that is necessarily finite. What one person may experience, another may not. You will experience your intuition expanding and growing. If you are someone who's an empath like I am, you already going through the world may feel like a raw nerve. Where no matter what somebody is experiencing, the anxieties, their frustrations, their even driving by cars on the road, you can feel sometimes what people are feeling, even if you're not riding in the car with them. During Ascension, even if you're not an empath, you start to have this heightened awareness and this more sense of interconnectivity between yourself and the outside world. As I just said, your intuition generally expands. The fertility doesn't necessarily mean physical fertility or changes in fertility. It could mean, and what I actually get the sense from in this is the birth of new ideas, the birth of new goals and aspirations and things coming to you that you may not have previously considered. Be they a career, be they a project. Generally, at least was for me, when I was in my early 20s and I was going to college, no, not even then, it was late teens. I was going through a very difficult time and very much struggling, and it wasn't entirely around the whole I was cursed thing that I mentioned in a previous video. It also had to do with I was struggling at the college I was at. I felt very personally lost. My anxiety was ramping up. I went through a long period of time where no matter what, I always felt cold unless it was like the middle of summer and it was 90 degrees outside. And I couldn't explain it, and I wasn't sick. I'd been to the doctor. And obviously if you are experiencing illness or feeling like you're not feeling well, please go to a doctor and get it checked out first, because you might actually be sick and it may not be a symptom of this, okay? I'm just giving you some examples of what some people have reported for their personal ascension. Some said that they felt like they had the flu for a very long time. Some have said that going through Ascension was like going through puberty all over again, with emotions going out of whack and moods flip-flopping all over the place, and not necessarily in a bipolar manner. It is a very mixed bag. Bipolar generally has its own set of symptoms and own set of diagnostic symptoms. So again, keep in mind that none of this is a replacement for medical advice or psychological advice. Always seek the mundane first. If the mundane doesn't really have many answers for you, then you might want to look at your spiritual aspect. So I've already spoken about expanding intuition, fertility, bringing in new ideas, new projects, bursts in creativity, bursts in energy out of nowhere. During the time, you may experience financial and material changes. Generally, when you're going through an ascension process, physical things tend to lose their meaning. I know personally for me, I used to hold on to a lot more stuff that I wanted. But as I started going through an ascension process, and as I even continue on the road and on the path, I find myself ridding myself of a lot more things and stuff. I mean, they don't generally hold meaning or purpose for me as much as they used to. So I've been getting rid of a lot. I've been purging a lot of things. The going through ascension can bring, and often does bring, a lot of difficulties. And I don't necessarily mean that your life is absolute hell. It may, for some, it goes a little bit easier than others, but generally the ones that it goes easier for are the ones who surrender to the process. If you fight it, it becomes a lot harder and it becomes a lot more prolonged. You'll find yourself making sacrifices, not just necessarily in things, but you'll start to find that people that you necessarily held in importance in your life you just outgrow them, I guess is the best way I can put it. The trapped in fear card comes up because frequently people who are going through ascension will have heightened anxiety. They will experience things a lot differently than normal. They will do things like continue going back in their memories, thinking of things and rehashing them over and over again. They may move on from their past experiences and people that they may have held in their life. And during the process, it's incredibly important to rest and rejuvenate. Now, one huge piece of advice that you may not know, if you suspect you are going through an ascension or may be heading in that direction, the number one thing you do not want to do is anything that causes a shift in your energy. So during an ascension, counterintuitively, you do not want to carry with you any crystals. You don't want anything that's going to ground you, because anything that grounds you is just going to make the process longer and more difficult for you in the long run. Positive movement forward. It's a very transformative process. It expands your awareness of the world. It accelerates motion forward. And you will especially find during this time you will need to go into kind of like a hermit phase. You will need to separate yourself from people around you. And I, within reason, obviously, you may still have to go to work, you may still have to go to school, but in the off periods, you may find yourself withdrawing more from other people. You'll see and feel and experience a shift in your chakras. And all of them, not just the throat chakra, but all of them. Yep, another chakra point coming up. Heart chakra. Funny how I said that, now they're all coming up. And you're going to experience a shift in your own personal power. And with that sense of feeling more interconnected and interwoven with the world around you, you're going to start feeling, I'm not quite sure how to put it. It's like this spiritual elevation wash over you. See how all the chakra points are coming up? All of your chakras are going to start being affected. Okay, let me move on to the next deck. I'm getting drawn to the energy oracle cards, so we'll see what they have to say. Yeah. If they reverse, I'll just flip it over. I don't read reversals in oracle cards. I did buy a brand new tarot deck, which I will show at the end. I'm excited to start working with it and see how it connects with me. One thing that I've struggled with when it comes to tarot is finding a deck that resonates with me and wants me to use it. And I think that's partially why I've struggled so much with being able to retain meanings and being able to figure out what they're saying. So, whoop, okay, I got the message. I'm excited to try this one out. When I saw it, I felt I resonated very much with the artwork. So, we shall see. Okay. One more shuffle. Trying to make sure I shuffle it correctly. It's very annoying when you're shuffling and you accidentally flip them, and then you have to go through the entire deck and flip them back. So let's see what it has to say. Contract, door to value, indecision. That's something that you can experience more of. Angel of strength, door to romance. This is very weird. Journey. Well, it is a spiritual journey. Did I not shuffle you enough? I thought I had mixed things back through, but let me just try to see what it's trying to say in this moment. Well, I did touch on you may have changes in career and money. romance. It's spiritual strength, it's a spiritual journey. You may face indecisions during the time period. Let me try shuffling a bit more, see if it has anything else to say. Storm warning. Yep, walking away. See, this is more indicative of it. Appreciation, community, the world, victory. I almost think that those first 6 cards were more an indication that I didn't shuffle it as well as I thought I did. But yeah, you'll have the storm warning. Has to do with the initial phase of the ascension. It can be very difficult. It can be very turbulent. And like I said already, you will find yourself walking away from things and people who you no longer resonate with. Sense of community and the world have to do more with the interconnectedness you start feeling. One of the ironic things that made my life a little bit easier was during my personal ascension, I felt extremely lost. And it wasn't just a sign of the ascension, but it was also a sign of things that were going on in my daily life, and everything just all together did not feel like it was going right for me. And in the time that I was feeling particularly lost, I'm just flipping the cards back all in the same direction. I allowed myself to go to the movies. Now, of course, this was at a time when movies were cheaper, and I recommend if you're going to do this, maybe try to catch some matinee movies instead of going at night or anything of that nature when it's more expensive. You know, look for deals. But one of the movies that I saw in the theaters that had a very profound, oh my god, aha moment for me was M. Night Shyamalan, Lady in the Water. At the time, I was absolutely loving the M. Night Shyamalan movies and really resonating with the stories and that he was portraying. Especially being someone who's very sensitive and intuitive. Things like The Sixth Sense and all of those movies kind of were resonating with me. But when I saw Lady in the Water, I left that movie theater going, oh my god, that's what I meant to do. Not so much the, you know, be a mermaid or a siren to humanity, but I felt that profound sense of I'm supposed to lead people back to the earth. I'm supposed to lead people back to being more conscientious of people around them and community and being kind to one another and being good and doing good things for the environment and all that kind of stuff. So when I left there, it was very much a deep-hitting, profound movie experience for me that I really did not go in there expecting. And even to this day, when I watch it over again, it still has that resonance, that echo with me. This is the last deck I'll use for this. Just seeing what it has to say. And as I said, when going through an ascension process, you should separate yourself from, you shouldn't do things like yoga or kundalini. Meditation can be very difficult, especially if you're going through an ascension process. Holding on to crystals, holding on to anything that will ground you will just make the process more difficult instead of allowing you to move through it with ease. So one piece of advice that many people say is to separate yourself from anything that affects you energetically in your energy field within your home. Not like throw it out or get rid of it, but maybe box it out, move it out of your bedroom, move it out of any area that you spend extended time in, at least while you're going through it, at least for a couple weeks. See how it helps you and see what shifts happen. Sweet temptation, power of words, piercing the mist, changing faces, walk with wings, and ebb and flow. All of these very strongly resonate with Ascension. Let me look up this one and this one in particular because their meaning isn't necessarily 100% in my mind. Piercing the mist. Lilac BC places flowers to remember her friend, wishing he was close by. She doesn't realize that he's right beside her, watching in spirit, because grief has clouded all, even the sun. However, just like the sun struggling to break through, hope lives even in despair. Even if it seems remote and veiled, the light of the sun will eventually pierce the mist, and then the scale of our pain becomes visible. The pain might be vast, but it is not infinite. It will have an end and an escape. And let me look at sweet temptation. Once I read off the initial meanings of them, it helps me discern how they read into the spread. This trio of fairies was sent on a mission to collect strawberries for their coven. The juicy, ripe fruit proved too much of a temptation. Instead of harvesting the wild berries, the two younger fairies began snacking on them. Before things got out of hand, the oldest fairy reminded them of the importance of their task. Fortified by the fruit, the fairies got back to work and finished in no time. At times, it's simply impossible to resist sweet offerings. Sometimes it's not only okay to indulge, but it actually helps keep us motivated. Just remember to keep the goal in mind and balance the bitter with the sweet. So, okay. Changing faces has a lot to do with your shifting of self. Many times when you go through an ascension process and you come out on the other end of it, the walk with wings indicates very strongly to me that you feel lighter. And I can even tell you, as a plus size woman who I am not a light person, I am not a thin person, but when I move, when I walk, I feel very light. I don't quite know how to put it other than I feel like I could float sometimes. Ebb and flow has to do with the emotions, and ascension isn't just a linear process. It's something that can take many months, many years. It all depends on the call of the universe as to how quickly you move through it, as well as how likely you are willing to surrender to the process. Sweet temptation is more about self-care. During the process of ascension, you have to self-care. What other people want from you, what other people are demanding from you, if they ain't paying you, if it ain't critical, they can wait. I'm just putting it the way that it is. Piercing the Mist has to deal with loss. Of course, you're going to be sad over losing people, over losing friendships, over closing doors to people and places and experiences that you may have once enjoyed and once partaken in. But I want to speak to this last one in particular, because it's a very, very, very critically important card. And that is the power of words. When you have gone through an ascension process, and even when you are going through it, you become far more stronger in being able to manifest and change the environment around you. And one way you are able to do that is by using your words. And this is partially why, especially in some of my other videos where I keep saying your words matter, your words matter, your words matter, because they have impact, not just necessarily on the people that you're directing them towards, but on yourself as well and your immediate environment. Because one thing that I have personally experienced many times in life is, if I say something and I say it with energy behind it, if I say it with extreme power, it tends to happen. And I can give an example of this. My workplace used to be in a very old building. And this building used to be a factory. And they had subdivided the factory to lease it out to many businesses. And it was very old, and its wiring wasn't the best. We didn't have heat. All we were reliant upon was space heaters. There was one bathroom to share between two businesses, and it wasn't a gendered bathroom. It was just unisex. If you went in, lock the door, you know. And we had experienced a lot of electrical issues because people that owned this building did not maintain it very well. And because of that, there was this one particular time when we had the generator within the building had caught fire, literally. It was not a huge fire, and thankfully it was very contained, and fire crews got rid of it very quickly. But this meant that the entire facility and the entire building had no electricity. And every business was pretty much reliant upon these big, huge diesel generators that were lined up in the parking lot and fed into the building, into each individual business, just so that each business could have electricity. And my boss, who since all of this has very much learned not to do this, I'm putting that out there right now, kept saying it can't get any worse, it can't get any worse, it can't get any worse. And I'm like, don't say that, don't say that, don't say that. We have had enough issues. We don't want to attract Murphy's Law any more than we already have stuff going on. and he wasn't listening. And it wasn't just myself saying it, it was my coworker saying it as well. And he just hit me on the wrong moment after being so frustrated of him saying it repeatedly, even when urged not to. And he caught me in the wrong moment, and it was in the back of my mind. And he made the mistake of asking me, "Oh yeah, well, what's gonna happen?" He's like, how could it be worse? And it popped out of my mouth before I could stop it, and I said, "We could have a fire." And the moment I said it, I was horrified, and my coworker was horrified, and I was knocking on every piece of wood I could to try to undo what I'd just done. And I am not kidding you. When I left work that day, they had an electrical fire. Thankfully, it wasn't big, it wasn't huge, but what had happened was the diesel generator that we had become faulty, and the company was coming to bring us a new one, and when they set it up and they connected the wires incorrectly, and the moment that they flipped on the generator, it caused a short and there was a small electrical fire. The same day. So when I say the power of your words have power and they have meaning, and that you can either use your words to do good or you can use them to do bad. I strongly urge you, especially if you are going through an ascension, be extremely careful with what you say. Extremely careful with what you say. Because you can affect and cause things to happen even if, it's not your intention to do so. And that is a honest to goodness real thing that happened in my life, and I'm just trying to give you very strong forewarning. It's not just a matter of, don't be mean to people on the internet because your words have meaning, which they do, absolutely. It also is, be very careful with what you say, and especially what you hold in your mind for too long, because the more you hold it, the more likely you're going to trigger something to happen. And don't think that it's going to be like, well, maybe if I say I'm going to win the lottery, that's going to happen. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. So I'm just forewarning you on that. So now that I've gone through that, I just wanted to show you guys this deck real quick. It's my brand new deck. It's called the Good Tarot. And as you can see, it's a fairly thick booklet. I am reading this before I use it on the channel. But I just wanted to share with you some of this artwork. It's gorgeous. Here we have the Emperor, Messenger of Fire. I mean, just look at these cards. They're gorgeous. Hierophant. Love. Chariot. The water sign cards are beautiful. Even the Fool is gorgeous. You can see I'd started to shuffle these already. But yeah, I'm really excited to try using these. And I'm going to try practicing with them for a little bit before I start bringing them onto the channel. But I had to show you how gorgeous these cards are. And I'm going to put my Amazon affiliate links to the decks that I used today, as well as this deck, in a pinned comment under this video. If you want to buy any of them, you don't have to use my affiliate link. If you do, I get a small 10% commission, but I'm just putting it there, making it available. If you choose to use it, that is completely and totally up to you. Ugh, gorgeous. Look at that Ace of Earth. Cernunnos. Cernunnos is a Celtic deity. Call. My goodness. Five of Earth. Page of Air. Oh, look at Seven of Fire with the unicorn. Star. I'm not going through and showing all of them. There's far too many cards for that, but I'm just showing you some of them. I mean, even look at the Tower card. Look at how gorgeous that card is. Usually when you see Tower, you see it on fire and crumbling down. Hanged Man. Messenger of Earth. She reminds me of a dyad. Oh wow, look at this transformation card. That is stunning. Wow. Even Temptation. Gotta love the symbolism of the apple. Hermit. But yeah. We'll see what comes up in future videos. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you find my guidance at all helpful, or if you have any questions or concerns, or feel you want more information, or feel you need more information on Ascension, please don't oh man, it just went out of my head. Please don't hesitate to comment in the comments below. Or if you want to keep it more private, I do have an email address affiliated with my channel. It's heathenbeauty11@gmail.com. You can always email me there if you want to keep it more confidential. My channel was originally called Heathen Beauty, but I had to change it in the early stages because it came to my attention there was another Heathen Beauty, and she had started her platform and channel before mine, so of course I changed mine to Beauty Heathen. But and that was despite all best efforts to look up everything before I even started. Facebook let me down, YouTube let me down, Twitter let me down. So yeah, I'm now Beauty Heathen. So just explaining why it says heathenbeauty11@gmail.com. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it brings guidance and assistance to you in some way, especially if this is something you or a loved one may be going through. Please don't forget before you leave to like, comment, subscribe, share it. And until next time, I wish you love, I wish you kindness, I wish you peace, I wish you joy, I wish you harmony, I wish you prosperity, and most of all, I wish you brightest blessings. And until next time, blessed be.